Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to Teachers Off Duty. I'm Tel Williams, or Mr. Williams Pre-K.
Mr. Williams Spreck.
Spreck.
I haven't gotten to say that in a while.
know.
I love it. I am Lauren Woolley, Mrs. Woolley in 5th. And today we are also joined again by our friend Greg Cada.
Hello. I am at Gregisms.
I was waiting for the extras.
It's like Laza with a Z,
You need it.
Why is it?
but with Gregisms with an S.
Give me one of your Gregisms.
Oh.
Way to put him on the spot,
I know.
Tel.
Seriously.
Like, tell a joke.
Judgments are for Judy and court is not in session.
Oh.
I like that one.
Is that a shirt?
It is.
Can I buy one?
I'll just give you one, but yes.
No, we have to support artists.
Yeah, I will also
You're-
buy a shirt.
Yeah.
I will just get you one.
I don't have any interesting phrases. I don't. Like, we were just talking about all of our friends' various phrases that
Yeah.
they say, and I don't have any. I'm the most boring out of all of us.
But you have the mouse, the rat.
Yeah, but he's not a catchphrase.
He could be.
Oh, Greg doesn't know about the rat.
I love it.
What do you mean you have the mouse and the rat?
Okay. So when I was first getting started on TikTok, I was making I did some question videos where I would ask funny questions about I don't know, teaching or whatever. And one of them was what should be my new class mascot or pet or something like that. And someone said you should get a rat or whatever. And I was like, okay. So then it kind of evolved from there into I asked a question why did the students get an A on the test or whatever, and someone said because there was a rat in the corner giving them all the answers to the questions. So then that made me go out and literally buy a little stuffed rat. And I have this teeny tiny little, not a real rat, obviously, but it's just a stuffed animal.
I thought you said stuffed rat, like you have a taxidermy
No,
rat.
I don't have taxidermy in my classroom. No, it's just a little, it's actually a mouse from a book. I don't remember which one, but it's, I think is it Splat the cat? No, I don't know. But I have this little mouse. His name is Corner Jim. The internet named him, and he moves around my classroom every day, and the kids try to find him. And then he last year got a girlfriend. She is actually a rat. She is white, and her name is Corner Kim. So we have Corner Kim and Corner Jim, and then they just had an adopted son who is a tiny elephant, and his name is Corner Tim. So we've got the whole family now, Corner, Jim, Kim, and Tim.
Oh.
And they all just move around my room. Corner Tim is currently hanging from a paper lantern on the ceiling.
I feel like I've already written Corner Kim's backstory and how she got the name Corner Kim. And
Well, my
there's
students
so many-
last year
You can do a lot with that.
were
Yeah.
trying to say that she cheated on Corner Jim, and that's how Corner Tim came to be.
Oh.
Yeah, it was some scandal up in there, and I was like, quit being adults.
Yeah.
No,
Not these rats.
They're not these rats.
These
It's
rats.
like the country bumpkin version of Elf on a Shelf, but real life, full out, just
Yes.
teaching lessons.
Exactly. But they love it. And Corner Jim and Corner Kim. So for 5th grade, I do Elf on a Shelf, but I do Mouse in the House. So I do
Oh.
Jim. He'll move around the room and bring treats and stuff and do wacky things in December. So I do that.
Rat in the Hat.
Rat in the Hat, Mouse in the House.
I'm
That's
here for
funny.
this.
I don't know. But yeah, so that's the backstory on the rat.
Still with Corner Kim. I love it.
Corner Kim.
Okay.
She's
Yep.
living her dream.
Corner Kim. She is.
We are not shaming.
They have a little blended family. It's beautiful.
Aw.
It's beautiful.
And speaking of families, I know as a kid when growing up, it was weird seeing a teacher out and about because I was like, you don't live under your desk. It truly shocked me.
I live under my desk.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a
taken
futon
naps
in
under
my
desk.
room.
Yeah, I was like, I've definitely taken naps under my desk. But then as a teacher, I kind of always thought that the feeling would go away. And then I ran into parents outside of the classroom, and that's an odd feeling. So we decided we're going to do an episode, a little meet the parents awkward run-in episode.
Yes.
Because I feel like everyone's probably experienced it. I have. I know I have.
At least once.
Yeah.
At least once.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the time. I'm lucky enough to live not in the
Yeah.
area where I teach. So I don't run into parents
Right.
and
How far do you
students.
live?
20 minutes.
Okay.
So that doesn't seem like a long ways if you live in a city, but we're out in the country. So it's,
Yeah.
they don't leave their town,
Yeah.
and I'm in the other part of town. So I don't really see any of my students or parents just on my day to day, but like last week we had like our county fair and like some of them were there. So like I saw one of my students at the fair and I like immediately beelined it the other way. I was like, I'm like that student is a sweetheart, but I didn't put
It's
makeup
me
on my
time.
face that day. I'm like, I'm just gonna look like a different person and I'm gonna walk away because I don't want that awkward
100%.
run in right now.
New Orleans is so small, even though it's a big city.
Yeah.
But it's also a city that has like a built-in social schedule that so the entire city does
Yeah.
this at this
Sunday
time of year,
fun day.
at this time of year, at this exactly Sunday fun day. But like from Mardi Gras season,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you are inevitably going to be amongst everyone.
Yeah.
So I see parents more than students.
Yeah.
Didn't you say you
a
live pretty
whole
close
lot.
to your school too?
I could walk if I needed to.
That would be
It's about
nice,
less than
though.
a mile.
But we
I would
said
say.
carbon footprint.
Right.
You know, I get it.
Exactly. Totally.
I would everywhere drive him. I mean, joking. I'm like the Taylor Swift of automobiles, you know? Like I'm flying my car everywhere I go.
Yes, please.
He takes the long route too.
I do.
I do. I long haul myself.
Sorry. No, I don't do that often. You know? I like was gonna drive my car here and instead I just like started it and then got on the plane, you know? Just let it run.
So you just let it run the whole time we're here?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah.
The violence of it. Do you think it's awkward when you run into the parents, or have you like gotten so used to it?
It's. I mean, the funny thing is it's again the culture of New Orleans is like. I mean, it's a very drink friendly.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
All of these events involve alcohol.
So like parents seeing you out at a bar drinking is not a shocker. Like they'd just be like, hey.
No, normally it's like parents inviting me to
Okay.
to come to their
Yeah.
during Mardi Gras we have what a lot of non-locals don't understand is that there's tons of parades. They're all uptown though.
Okay.
They come through the neighborhoods and then they go into the areas that people know. So like
Gotcha.
everyone thinks it's Bourbon Street boobs and beat like that's a tourist thing that got started. Showing your
not a
boobs is
local.
not that has never been the tradition. It's very much ingrained in Easter and the Catholic Church, whatnot. Anyway,
Yeah.
but there's parade routes that that they go down. So if you're on the parade route, you have a bathroom on the parade route. If you have like a place to set up your tailgate and whatever, some people get fancy and have like generators and plugged in. So like a lot of these families that, especially in my school, that are very affluent, like they're like, Mr. Greg, come on, have a drink. Like, so it's very
I
awkward
must.
because they're lit. Because you do.
Yeah,
'cause
you have to.
because it's Mardi Gras, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, sure. But then you're like, all right, what number are you on?
Yeah.
'Cause that's like it's like I gotta have to gauge how much.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's just that it's the culture of I just think of the city that it's a very community based in a big city feel. So like I don't mind it. It's more like when the kids see me
Yeah, that is awkward.
because it
Yeah.
because it is that sort of I get reminded of like, oh, I remember seeing Mrs. Libman in the grocery store and being like, she bought that brand, and like I'm like judging myself then more
She bought
like
Great Value
damn it, I
instead
didn't wear
of
my
Clorox.
exactly I didn't wear my good glasses. He's gonna think I'm poor or like
Yeah.
whatever as I'm like traveling because like these kids are going all over the
They do.
place and they're
Yeah.
like seeing Mr. Greg at the airport was wait, he's human.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be that memory for you.
I can't
I don't wanna
imagine
do that.
seeing like so a couple summers ago when I used to work at my old school, one of my colleagues, her dad or her father-in-law owned a bunch of like Dairy Queens in the area, and over the
the most
summer,
Ohio
Was it
thing.
fresh ice cream? Was it fresh?
it wasn't the farm fresh,
raised?
but
Oh,
no,
Farm fresh
Missing
ice cream's
out.
where
You're
it's
missing
at.
I know, strawberry cows, but so like this was back before I was ever doing anything like with TikTok. So I was like, oh well, I don't have anything to do in the summer. I'm like, can I get like a little job at Dairy Queen? It'll be fun.
Yes.
Like it's just for funsies.
Yeah.
So I worked at Dairy Queen for a summer, and the manager at my Dairy Queen, like we were around the same age. I was working with literally high schoolers, and I was a teacher. So they would call me like Miss Teacher Lady, and while I was working, and I was literally 22. Like I was not much older than
Like, I'm
them.
your peers.
Miss Teacher
Right.
Lady.
Miss Teacher Lady, just for fun. Like they
Oh,
were
I
just
was
joking
like-
with me.
Because that's
Wow.
harder
Yeah.
than learning your name.
No, they were teasing me. But like the manager and I were around the same age, so we would like talk on our shifts and stuff like that. And then fast forward to me working at my new school, Here, I forgot that she had mentioned she lived in the area that like my school is, and I, show up to work there, and her daughter is at my school, and she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you worked here." I'm like, "I just moved here." Like,
Ice cream lady.
yeah. So then I had her daughter in class last year, and like she was always really chill, and she had my number because I had worked at DQ, and she was like, "Hey, I hope you don't mind that I'm texting your personal phone," and I was like, "I don't care." I'm like, "You're cool, so whatever." But I just like it was funny that from the little town we were already working in,
Right.
we had made our way back to each other in the other little town that now we were working in. But that one wasn't so awkward. Like that one was pretty.
Because you
that
made
was
like
okay.
not all of them are, right? I mean,
No,
and
yeah.
it's hard to gauge too, because like for me, it was always, it like varied year by year. There was one year that the parent, like every weekend, they'd throw these like huge pool parties, and they'd be like, come, like enjoy yourself, drink, and all this. And I'm like, it just seems like it'd be awkward, but like, I mean, they were awesome.
Yeah.
On the other end of the spectrum, it's like you're at a bar with friends drinking a martini. The parent's like alcoholic, like, you know what I mean? It's
See,
like,
I'm always like, I feel like I'm just forever self-conscious
Yeah.
about that kind of stuff. Like I'm so like, what's the word? Starts with a P. I can't think of it. When you're like paranoid, I'm always
That's the
paranoid.
word you
I was-
couldn't
I
think
was-
of.
I
I
was
was trying to think of
looking
something
every word.
incredible.
I was like,
no,
yes,
I
yes.
couldn't think of the word paranoid.
Somatic. No.
I wish there was a bigger word I was trying to think of. No, paranoid. I'm always paranoid about like, people seeing me out
Yeah.
in public, and like, especially now that,
Yeah.
your face is all over the internet. You're like, everybody who's around you could potentially know who you are.
yeah.
So you're like, I don't want to like accidentally
Yeah.
do something that someone's going to get mad at me for. So I'm just like, I'm going to, but I feel that way about parents. Like that's how I feel in my town. I'm like, if a parent sees me at a bar, are they gonna look at me weird? Like, am I gonna
Right.
get in trouble
for being
Like,
for being
for
of
being-
age at a bar and
Yeah.
being responsible with that. Yeah.
I know. I started getting better about it on my Instagram and on my TikTok though. Like I've shown like
Yeah.
videos of me like having a drink. Like
Yeah.
I'm literally 28 years old.
Right.
I've been of legal drinking age for 7 years. Like,
Right.
that I don't have a problem with. But like
The
I don't
awkwardness of
know.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I work at a Catholic school,
Oh,
Okay.
so it's a Jesuit Catholic school. So I don't know if you know anything about.
I do.
I went to a
I
Jesuit high
grew up
school.
Roman Catholic. I don't know
Ooh.
the difference.
Jesuits just an order. It's like
Okay.
Dominicans or Franciscans or whatnot. But the
Okay.
Jesuits are really big on service. So like I went to an all boys school in Cleveland. I went to Ignatius, St.
Oh,
Ignatius.
yeah,
So
I know that.
Great. I would never trade it for anything in the world. Honestly, I had a great experience. But I am openly gay at the school, and they're at, again, New Orleans. It's just a very different community. But
Yeah.
I am very hyper aware of like so many things that like it's
Yeah.
sad that we have to be like literally when children hug me, my hands go up in the air
Yep.
immediately. And
Yeah.
and they all like it was another pre-K teacher, or not another, but because I don't teach pre-K, but a pre-K teacher that saw it because the siblings all want to be in theater so badly, but I don't teach pre-K, but they'll run up and hug me anyway. And she saw it. She's like, "Why do you throw your hands up?" And I was like, because the gay teacher, like I have to be aware of the fact that
Right.
I can't. No,
Right.
I don't want. I'm one of 3 male teachers in my school, as well as
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just the world we're in. I don't want anyone to get any kind of weird idea.
100%. This
It's
in this
sad
political
that you have
climate.
to think
yeah.
that way, though.
It's so
you know?
sad because I would. These kids
Because
are
I don't
adorable.
think twice
and I
about
would
that
love
when
to-
it's like
Yeah.
I mean
Oh,
yesterday
I
when I was sending
always-
my students home for the weekend, at least 2 or 3 of them came up and like side hugged me.
Yeah.
Like and I don't think twice about that, but that's really sad that
they
that's how you
ninja
have to
hug
think.
me, and so like
Yeah.
they'll rap, and I'm like, hey, I'll still talk to them, but my hands go
Yep.
up in the air. Straight
Yeah.
away. That also comes from like teaching dance as well. Like there was a shift in like when you're doing like ballet or any
Yep.
kind of adjustment, your teacher's coming right up to you and actually
Yep.
physically touching you.
Yeah.
Like you have to like now you have to have this whole. You
So
can't.
I did
and whatnot.
gymnastics for 12 years, so
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was the same
Yeah.
way.
You can't
Like
talk through
yeah,
that. It's
if
like
you're
let me just
moving a
move
body
your-
part the wrong
right.
way, they
Right.
put they
But
have to
I'm-
put their hands
because
on
it's a
you.
Catholic school, there are things that I feel like I get held to a different
Yeah.
standard. So
Yeah.
I have a very supportive principal. So like anything I do, I sort of if I'm worried that it's going to be risque, which I have no line,
Right.
So I'm like, to me, it's hard to offend me.
Yeah.
But like I have to be aware of, and especially things like the oddest and most uncomfortable run-in I had was with I did this event at Mardi Gras called Greasing of the Poles. And so all of the poles on Bourbon Street, it's a tradition, but they grease them because people used to climb up them. So we literally grease them. And I didn't know this was an event. It's been going on for 50 plus years, but they choose 4 like local celebrities to literally go to grease, like actually take Vaseline and grease them. And so
Do you like get up on a ladder or something?
so yes, but you first are like introduced and like I was watching videos and like you kind of perform. And I was like, so what do you have to do? Like, what is the thing? And they were like, well, you can do whatever you want. And I was just like, okay, done. And so in my mind, I immediately was just thinking of like poles, greasing poles. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do a Showgirls medley. I'm just going to do Showgirls. And then I was like, wait, I can't do Showgirls. It's just too niche. This whole audience. And I was just like, oh, I'll just do Flashdance. I'll do Flashdance. I'm going to do. So I had like I had a wig, I had a reveal, I had the whole outfit. I was in a full crop top mini.
Oh my God, I love it.
did the splits. I did all this stuff.
I did the splits.
Oh yeah, it was.
In the wa-
Oh, I couldn't have water. They wouldn't let me have water, but I had like a bucket of blue, like confetti. I did. So it was like full out. And I'm covered in grease. So then you get up on a ladder and you each get a 4-pole and you just start going to town. And I was just going to town. I had so many people from all over come to support me. And it was incredibly like awesome. But I'm covered in Vaseline. It's in my wig.
Yeah.
It's all over my body. Because at one point I got off the ladder and started greasing it with my butt and everything. And I mean, like, I'm in fishnet. It's, it's not a good look. I am not a pretty girl. So, but I was having the time of my life. And then to the right. But it was like supportive and like it was mortified. Like, we love Mr. Greg. Go, Mr. Greg. There's a whole, like, about 27 parents all there to support me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I forgot how public this was for a minute, but like this is such a New Orleans story. Like they all were there.
Though.
They're all drinking well. And then the flip side, it was on every news channel, the emails.
Yes.
Do you think it was appropriate for Miss Whatever? And again, having great admins that were just like, what?
It's tradition there, though.
There's going to be some Karens out there everywhere.
Right. This wasn't.
Like if that's where you draw the line at Mardi Gras.
Right. So there were definitely, and that parent is no longer at the school thing.
Yeah. But also, like, I know it's not like it didn't start as a New Orleans tradition, but like the whole touristy, like the pulling up your shirt for beads and stuff. If you're taking your kids to Mardi Gras, like, is that really what you're concerned about them seeing? They're like a person greasing the pole, which is a tradition. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, where are your priorities?
Where's the
where's the line?
Plus, I was like, the dancing was amazing. I mean, come on, like
you
was
worked
like
it.
I fully earned and I won, but like I fully.
Oh, it was a contest.
Oh yes.
Oh, I
you
didn't
win
know
a
that.
title.
Okay, I
You
thought
win a
they just
very
like
large
What's your
bottle.
title?
I'm the Greasing of the Poles champion. So now next year I get to.
This was
judge.
last year.
This was Justin.
Oh,
This was Justin.
so like February,
March.
right? March.
Yeah, it was March this year.
I'm looking for the
Or
videos.
end of February.
Oh my God, I need to see
Oh,
this.
they're on there. It's
Do you have do they give you like a banner or like a trophy?
I have a
like,
huge bottle of. So Moe Shandon did a custom, this big bottle of champagne that is engraved, and then there's a button on the bottom and it lights up. And everyone's like, when are we cracking that open? I was like, never.
When you get
This
home,
is never being opened.
I need a picture of this.
I'll send it to you.
I want to see this.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
It's,
just
again,
like
hilarious.
We were just talking like earlier about how, because you're from Ohio also,
Yes.
how Ohio's a pretty okay place to live, and now you're like convincing me wholly to move because New Orleans sounds lit.
So can I
Like-
tell you an Ohio aside? I have a theory about Ohio.
Yes.
Everybody knows somebody from Ohio, and this is what I'm going to piss off a lot of Ohio people right now, but I love
God.
you, Ohio. I always say, exactly, and the greatest people come from Ohio, the ones that left. Don't trust the ones that stayed. Because everyone knows somebody. But here's my theory. This is your call. Leave.
Don't tell me that I just built a house.
You've been with an amazing walk-in shower.
I know.
I wouldn't leave
Tiles.
it. I
My
couldn't.
shower.
I mean, I couldn't leave that
advocate
baby.
for people to see outside of where they. But I think
Well,
Ohio
and this
prepped
is-
you. Ohio made you a phenomenal person.
Well, thank you. This is what I like justify staying there for, though.
No, it's okay.
I think Ohio is a nice place to live. It's very calm.
Yes, I loved
very
Ohio.
calm. And
And Amish, Comish and Amish.
Comish and Amish. And it's very affordable.
Yeah.
So I can afford to travel to all the other places and experience them.
Well,
but
at
I
least
know
do
it's not
that.
the same as living there.
No, and again, I'm joking, Ohio people.
No,
but
I know.
I root for Ohio because everybody makes fun of Ohio.
Everyone,
Especially
why?
Cleveland.
Why do y'all hate on Ohio
I
so
know,
much?
but I'm like, seriously, it grows up people that are very open and very, like I said, like in 1994, I had a phenomenal high school experience at being
Yeah.
gay at an all boys school.
what is it about? Like, I think it's like a running joke that Ohio has nothing in it. Like, it's always just like people say like Ohio's just a bunch of farms and
the
stuff.
heart of it all. That
but
was
it's
our theme.
not. Like, we have so many
Our
cool
motto.
things in Ohio.
Yeah.
Like, we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have the Football Hall of Fame. We have Cedar Point.
I just went.
I just went there too.
I was there in July.
It was I was there. No, I was in August. It was not a great day.
Cedar Point?
It rained half the day, and then the other half, all the rides were broken.
Did you run into any parents there?
I did not. Which, I like I was telling you earlier, a lot of the people that follow me are kids. So I did run into a bunch of kids. Like a lot of kids will stop me and say hi, and that's totally fine. But I was just telling you guys about like my county fair. I'm gonna bring up the county fair because I'm from Ohio.
Sell it.
So when I was at the fair, a parent actually stopped me walking down like one of the pathways, and they had known me from the internet, and their student was like at a school nearby my school, and they were like, oh my gosh, I love your stuff so much. I've sent you like DMs before. And like I had messaged her back at some point, and she was like, I want to transfer my daughter to your school so she could have you as a teacher. And I was like, that's so sweet. Like, but I was kind of like, she knows where I teach. And she's like, well, just because I'm from the area. I was like, okay. Like,
How'd you find me?
yeah, but like that's one of the only parents I've ever really encountered. I don't really encounter my own students' parents, but I do have a funny story, and I'm totally gonna give it out about my husband. So when he was in middle school, like Jordan is ridiculously smart, but when he was in like middle school, he didn't try at all. So he would like do his homework and then just throw it in the locker and never turn it in, or like do the project and then just not give it to the teacher. Like yeah, I know you're like, why wouldn't you just walk it the 3 feet
Yeah,
into your
like, just,
classroom and give it to them? But
Right.
yeah, so he didn't, and he was getting like a D or something in English in 6th grade, and it was like time for parent-teacher conferences, and his teacher gave him the form to take home to his parents, and what did he do? Threw it in the locker and never took it home. So then fast forward to that weekend, he and his parents went to a local high school play his like cousin was in or whatever, and
What's the play?
I don't remember.
Okay, sorry.
I don't think he gave me that detail. I'll have to find out.
It's either Our Town. If
It was
it's a
Our
musical,
Town.
it's either Annie or Susical. I
Our
just know
Town
it.
Junior.
No, it was what is it? Maine.
Almost Maine.
Almost
Maine.
Almost Maine.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
no.
Okay.
I remember seeing that one at a high school play. They did a pretty good job. Anyway, so they're sitting in the row watching the play, and his English teacher was sitting in the row right behind them. And so his mom was like, oh, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, how are you? And she's like, good. Did you get the form for conferences? And Jordan goes, like, slumping in his seat. And he's like, oh, I got caught. And his parents were like, no, we didn't get the
Actually
form.
did not
And
get
like,
that.
yeah, I wonder what happened to it. And like looking at Jordan. So then his teacher, like, planned a conference with his parents in the middle of the play.
Why was
And
the
then-
teacher
That's
working
funny.
during Almost Maine or
Oh,
whatever that
no.
almost Our
She
Town?
wanted to get Jordan. She was like, I got you. Like,
Sorry.
no, nope, sorry. So she ended up having a conference with his parents and like ratting him out about never turning anything in. But yeah, I was like, you know what? What are the odds that your English teacher is going to sit right behind you
At this thing
at the
and call
showing of
you out.
Almost Maine and call you out?
I think sometimes the run-in is like awkward for the kids if they're with the parent.
Yeah.
But like then sometimes they also like thrive when Jason and I were getting married. My husband and I were getting married. We were doing like a bunch of like DIY stuff for it, and we did the part of the centerpieces needed wine bottles, and so we were like too short. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go get some wine tonight. I'll get 2 bottles and then like work on some wedding stuff. And then I grabbed like a industrial size bag of peanut M&Ms. So I'm walking to the grocery store. I'm looking horrific. And I have a bottle under one arm, this, and I'm holding this giant bag of M&Ms. I'm walking through, and then I hear Mr. Williams, and I turn around, and it's not one, not two, but three of my students. I had each sibling, and they run up to me, and I go to hug them, but I have the wine in my hand, so it's like clink, clink, clink as I'm hugging three kids, and I'm like,
Just bop 'em
oh
on
my
the head.
God. And
Right.
the parents come, and I was like, this is shit. And the parents are like, it's fine. This is why we're here as well. Like we're coming to get alcohol. I'm like, okay. And I'm like trying to hide these bottles of wine, but I'm like, there's no way of doing that. So I was like,
You're like,
cool, thanks.
This Merlot goes really great with the red peanut M&M. That's
I'm
a good pairing.
classy.
Listen, nothing would have been better so when Jordan and I were getting married, we had like a really cool venue, but the caterer didn't supply the alcohol. Like you had to buy it
Yeah.
and bring it. So the one day we had gone to Walmart and like we were just picking up all the wine bottles and just like random mixers and stuff. So we literally have a shopping cart full of alcohol. Like I'm talking probably like $400 in liquor.
Yeah.
And we're walking into the checkout aisle. And then like multiple people were just like, I want to go wherever she's going. Like, then I was like, well, you want to come to my wedding? It's October 20th. Like you can come.
my gosh.
But I could not imagine a parent finding
Seen
me at
that.
Walmart with my shopping
Like,
cart
I would've been
of liquor.
Do you really think a parent's gonna look at that and be like, oh, like what are you, like leaving Las Vegas too?
Listen,
like
I bet
Somehow.
you
Nicolas
one
Cage,
would.
you're about to go drink yourself
Right.
to death. Like
So-
that's a lot of
Yeah.
Some have, though.
I would be like, oh, they have a party or something like that. I wouldn't be assuming.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I'm about to go drink myself into a stupor.
Right.
You know?
It's like half. Like I had doing. I guess I've only been doing social media for 2 years, but
Yeah.
like I only had one real complaint, and the parent was like, "I don't have TikTok. I just saw this on BuzzFeed, but they did something on Mr. Williams, and they had a couple of his videos there, and the school's like, okay, and they're like, does he drink in the classroom? And they're like, what? And she's like, there's a video of him that they posted and he's drinking. They looked at it and it was a wine glass of water at my kitchen table. And they were like, what part of this do you think is in the classroom? They're like, well, he was joking and saying that he was on Zoom. And she's like, we don't do Zoom. And so that was that. And then there was a green screen. Clearly, like, you know how you can do
Yeah,
like the green
you can
screen
see the
thing?
fuzzy green
and like
screen
I'm
in the
moving
background.
around and they were like, he's talking about drinking here. Was he in the classroom talking about that? And they're like, that isn't even what the classroom looks like. Like it was so wild. I was like, where did baby,
just
where
a
you
gotcha
jump?
moment.
Oh, it really
Time
was.
Always.
people have the time.
And it's weird too, because like, you know, I think everything's on like a, you know, what's it called? A pendulum?
Pendulum.
So I feel like it's weird being when I was in Indiana, I feel like I had less parents be like kind of finicky. And that was in Indiana years ago. Then when I moved to, you know, the Philly suburbs where I thought it'd be
Really?
like more, it was, yeah,
That's so crazy.
it was a little bit.
Like there are definitely different types of parents,
Yes.
like depending on what area you're in.
Yeah.
Like you might have some parents that are like the helicopter parents that like
Yeah.
want to be involved in everything, which you know is great. Like I'm glad you want to be involved, but like there are some that are like too involved.
Yes.
Or like, you know, are too a little bit in control of things.
Yeah.
And then you have like the complete opposite of like the ones that like don't really show up at all or like you
Never
just
seen them.
literally have never met the whole year.
Ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
And,
They
like-
didn't come to back to school night. They didn't do a conference or they did a phone
Yeah.
call, which is like, I totally get that some of them like jobs and busy. And like I would always tell my parents, especially when I worked for Head Start, like don't take a point at work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and risk, you know, getting, you know, in trouble to come to a conference. We'll call,
Well,
we'll work
yeah.
around your schedule. But and it was also weird because we had to do home visits. So that line's
Oh, yeah.
so blurred. But I had moved, my thing, kind of like you don't teach in the town that year, or
Yeah.
my rule was before obviously I'd met my husband that I wouldn't go on a date in the town I taught in, just because I didn't want to run into. So we'd just go to the
Yeah.
next town over.
Yeah.
And I was at I think Walmart because it's the Midwest, and I was grabbing something and they had one line always, and so it just like wrapped around and. There is a police officer in front of me and he had a cart full of stuff. And I was like, I just have like two things. And he's like, do you want to go ahead of me? And we're talking for like 45 minutes.
God, that's a good
And I was like,
person.
That's the real
okay. And
hero.
so he lets me go, which is like, yeah, I still have, you know, an hour to wait in line, but it was nice. And when he had asked if I want to go, I was like, yeah. He's like, but if you want to go in ahead of me, you have to give me your number for a date. And I'm like,
Wow.
this is a
Ooh.
Hallmark movie, a teacher and a cop. And so I was like, okay.
At
So
Walmart, too.
Yeah, at a Walmart.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you fall
Rolling
in love in a
back the
hopeless
prices.
place. Rolling back the prices and love. And so I was like, yeah. And so we had talked for like a week. And then he was like, I really want to go to this sushi place. It's my favorite. It was across the street from the school. Not just across it, but if I looked out my window, I could see the Chubby Trout across the way. That's what,
What
it was
was it
called.
called?
The
Sorry,
Chubby,
what?
the Chubby Trout.
The Chubby Trout.
The Chubby
Whoa.
Trout.
Shout out
And this
to
was
you,
where again?
Chubby Trout.
In Northern Indiana.
Oh, I love a landlocked sushi
I
restaurant.
love that. Right. It's like you didn't get the sushi from Lake Michigan, babes.
love that.
And I broke
Trust
the rule.
that's fresh.
It's not. It's the Chubby Trout. You know, it's like crab sticks from the local grocery store.
I just love the name of the
Right. Me
restaurant.
too.
And I need you to really sink into the name for
The
what I'm about to
Chubby
say because it is a
Trout.
martini-ish bar, Chubby Trout. Right. So and the weird thing was it used to be kind of like
It's nothing
dingy but
sexier
fun.
than a martini bar called Chubby Trout.
Chubby Trout. I'm like,
with landlocked sushi. I love it.
it's like my favorite. So then I was like, okay, yes, I will break the rule once and do that. So I stayed after school. I like waited until like 6 o'clock. I like did the change of clothes thing, and I didn't walk. I drove across because I'm stupid. And we're sitting there and we're drinking, and I'm like a martini and maybe two, and the door opens and I see a child, and I thought. I'm like, I'm so sorry. One of my students just walked in. Oh my God, she's walking over this way. And the kid's like, and so she stands here, and it's like the beginning of the school year. I think it's like September. And she looks at me and I was like, hi. And she stops and turns. She goes, Dad? And I was like, wait, what? And then a woman is running down. She's like profusely apologizing. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, are you his? I was like, are you the wife? And he was like, we're divorced. We're divorced. And like, I was like, I have to go. And they're like, no, let's not make this awkward.
what?
Baby, I was about to be a stepmom.
What?
I built our entire life around each other.
How long into the date did this all happen?
Putting like a martini in.
He didn't think
And
to
he
tell
didn't
you.
say like, oh,
He didn't know.
You teach at
He
the.
didn't- he didn't-
he didn't know his child's teacher?
I didn't tell him the school I taught at, and he didn't know his child. No, because he didn't go to back to school. He didn't do any of that. And so, and like, don't make it awkward. And then I talked to them because we have to do, like I said, we have to do home visit. We have to do two home visits a year and 2 conferences.
What's a home visit?
You go to the person's home. You go to the family's home.
Jigga, what is that?
I know.
What?
You go to their home.
Address.
Address.
Is there a bus? Do you have to?
Is
You're
there a
responsible
bus?
to be
My-
taken
as it-
to
oh.
the. You go to the.
They give me their and I drive there.
This is what and do what?
So you go through all the paperwork because they have to. It's Head Start's a government funded program, so you go through the paperwork. You let them know all this blah 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 stuff at the beginning of the year. You set up like a plan and a goal for the child, a plan and goal for the family, and then throughout the year you check on that goal. It is a social work program.
Do you sell encyclopedias as well? Do you take a
Yes.
test? Do you take fingerprints? Like what?
Mary Kay.
Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. So like I do
love
have
a
the pink
good
Cadillac.
MLM. Get 'em in, get 'em in.
Gaslight.
When they're
Gatekeeper
young.
boss.
Head Start's
Yeah.
also
What?
run by Mary Kay.
College fund
yes.
is great.
Yes.
But have you seen this blush?
Yeah, so I'm like $45,
Right.
And it will make you break out. I'm kidding.
And it won't
Allegedly.
arrive for 5 months.
Yeah.
In dancing. Break out
But
in
yeah,
dancing.
So yeah, you do home visits, but
okay, sorry.
no, that was. I mean, like, so I hadn't done the home visit yet or anything like that, and I asked them, like, "Is this gonna be weird?" And they both said no. And then I got an email from the principal that was like, "They want to do separate conferences all year." I'm like, I get that. That's fine. Like that's cool. So I didn't see them. The home visit.
I am
thing.
hung up on home visits.
I know. Well,
can't. Do you home
That's-
visit?
No, because I'm at a public school. That's just Head Start, right?
It's Head Start. Some public schools do, but it's only like kindergarten, first grade.
Yeah,
and I,
like-
I did pre-K, but
I'm not visiting my kids' homes
We could
in
do
fifth grade.
we could do an entire thing on it. I would put my phone like ready for an alarm, and then if something happened, I would like. Okay, so one time I had a parent who was in a supremacy group, and I didn't know that until I saw his tattoo, and then he got mad because I said I spoke Spanish, and he was Puerto Rican, and I was like, "This isn't safe." So I'm talking, and I'm like this, and I put my phone down, and then it starts ringing. I'm like, "Oh my." Manager, and I was like, "It's our mental health director. We have to go."
Oh, it's
and
Mary
I
Kay. Hold
and
on.
I left.
Hey,
Yeah, and I
Mary.
was like, "It's the Mary. She needs us." I never ran into that parent. Thank
We're
God
out of
out of
blush?
school. Yeah, there's no more red blush.
I'm still no.
home
This
visit.
that would make me quit.
Which is why it's weird then when you run to the families outside of school because it's a very intimate thing to go to someone's house.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And like, and some of these houses are great. Some of these houses you're like the floor's moving. But it's yeah. So like the experience of seeing like parents afterwards, great. Running into them at a Walmart or Denny's, but like there's nothing more awkward than sitting in that house with them being like, so this is your space.
Right?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for not cleaning up.
Yeah.
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 Or cleaning up. Or
So, okay. So we don't do home visits, but when COVID hit and like everyone was virtual, you know
saw
how
that.
teachers started doing like the teacher parades? Yeah, no. Okay. So all over the internet, you
we have
started
so many
seeing
parades,
people.
I don't think we just.
No,
They were
no.
like,
It
"Nah."
wasn't a parade for the teachers. Like the teachers would like, okay, so what we did, like we all met up at the school. We all like decorated our cars.
Okay.
And then because the kids hadn't seen us in a long
drove-
time, aside from like on the computer, we drove like the bus routes and
Oh,
like
okay, that's fun.
did like a little like wave, like, but the area where I teach, the bus routes are so long because it's literally all farmland. So like one kid's house is like 2 acres away from another kid's house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like we're driving, we're all in a line of cars. We're driving down this back country road and then like we slow down. We're going 15-ish miles per hour for the one kid. We all wave. And then it's back to 50 miles an hour down the country road. And then we slow down again. And there's another kid and we wave and say hi. And then we're back to 50 and we're going up the highway again, like down back towards the school. And my signs go flying off my car onto the road. And me and Jordan are dying because I made him go on this trip with us.
Yeah.
And we're dying laughing because we literally will stop for 5 seconds to wave at
Wave.
one child and then go flying down the street. And we're like, because my school district is a total of 600 kids, like K-12, 600. That's it. Like we're teeny tiny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, teeny tiny. So like we would do that, and it took us like we did it like 4 separate times. We drove like 4 different bus routes, and it took us like 2 hours each time because
Baby, that's-
they were so freaking far apart.
That's when you stand at the school and they drive past a hill.
Right?
I know, but you know, we were like,
nice.
let's go to the kids.
Meet them where they're at.
We were trying to be good people, and you know,
We're trying to be good kids.
we're trying to be good kids.
That's
no,
sweet.
but
Work
smarter, not
it was,
harder.
It was fun and it was funny at the same time, and like you know, the kids got a kick out of it.
We did a
They got to
Mother's
wave
Day
at their
one
teacher.
like that.
Did you?
But they came to us. But it was very
You guys
similar.
did it the smart way. We did it the hard way.
But then, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was cute. What a time.
Right?
Now I'm thinking about, oh my gosh. Like, and it was also fun to see the parents out at, like, driving their cars, like, because it was early in the morning, too.
Yeah.
So some of them were like, listen, I'm not getting ready.
Yeah.
And so our producer's yelling at us. Did you see that?
I saw that. That
Oh
was
my
an
gosh.
angry fist.
We have a guest. Wow.
Rude. Anyway, so I want to hear more about you and your awkward parent and
yes.
student meetups. So like if you haven't already, I've already read a few from my Instagram. If you sent me a DM, I read it. Please send us some more because they're hilarious.
Yes.
We love reading them. And I'm probably going to ask to share a few on my story. But thank you so much for watching our podcast today. Hope you enjoyed it. And thank you to Greg for joining us.
Anytime.
And also, I think our merch is going to be coming out soon. So keep an eye out for that. I know you've been saying that for a while, but like it's totally.
But we actually
it's-
got the shirts today.
Yeah, we got
They're
them.
cute.
They're there. They're cute. So make sure you check those out. And then we will see you guys next time. Bye.